with स्नेहा पर मैं हूँ आपकी लड़की कमाल RJ Meenal. And then wow, I realized that पैसा मेरा मूड बनाता है. My husband has a lot of crosses. मी वैतागले आता.
How did you meet him?
I didn't understand that kind of relationship only. I don't cook.
You don't cook?
At all.
Okay.
Now I only use his money.
So like love is equal to happiness.
Met him, went home, opened my door and said, I'm getting married to this guy!
Hey you, welcome to Roar, a talk show where we talk about love, relationships and all wild emotions in between. Come rise in love with us. Today we have a beautiful guest out here with us and she's going to be introducing herself in her own style.
हेलो नमस्कार सत श्री अकाल रॉर विद स्नेहा पर मैं हूँ आपकी लड़की कमाल RJ Meenal.
Oh my god, that was absolutely Kamal Meenal.
Oh my god, that was so funny. I don't have a mic in front of me and just felt really weird.
So tell me, did you always want to be an RJ? Like this was what you always wanted to do since childhood?
Actually, this is what my mom always wanted me to do.
Okay.
I was raised in Dubai.
Okay.
And back in the 80s and the 90s, when we used to enter our house, light बरोबर ना रेडिओ पण चालू असायचा.
अच्छा.
माझी आई नेहमी ते रेडिओ ऐकून असं म्हणायची यू नो की तू ना एक दिवस अनाउन्सर हो रेडिओवर अनाउन्सर हो तेव्हा अनाउन्सर म्हणायचो आपण.
ओके.
तर दॅट वॉज ऑलवेज इन माय हेड पण असं मला कधी असं नव्हतं की हां मी रेडिओवरती रेडिओ जॉकिंग करायला पाहिजे.
बट यू ऑलवेज हॅड द कॉन्फिडन्स की यू नो मेक इट.
हां म्हणजे मीडियामध्ये किंवा अँकरिंग शो होस्टिंग असं मला खूप आवडायचं. शाळेमध्ये आपल्या ॲन्युअल फंक्शनचं होस्टिंग करायचं आणि हे सगळं आय यूज टू लव्ह.
ओके.
बट आय नेव्हर रिली थॉट की यू नो लाईक आय वुड बी अ रेडिओ जॉकी. दॅट वॉज नेव्हर पार्ट ऑफ माय प्लॅन.
So I think your mom brought
she manifested
she
it.
manifested it for you.
Yeah.
And then what got you to Pune? Like how did you?
So post 12th, I completed my 12th in Dubai also in 2000, which was technically the 90s only. So colleges back then were not very many, and also even if they were very expensive. So even my brother moved to India after his 10th, and after my 12th, I moved to India. Although we're from Bombay as a unit, but the life in Bombay was super fast, and my brother said, "ये यहाँ पे नहीं इसका जमेगा scene, तो please इसको पुणे भेज दो. Pune is far more quieter, peaceful, slower.
Okay.
She'll be able to adjust better there."
Okay.
So that's how I'm here in Pune.
And how many years have you been doing this?
Radio jockey.
Yeah.
About 22 years now. I started in 2001 December. So
Okay.
technically 2002.
22 years.
22 years.
Wow. So I think this was where you started and this is where you are and
Yeah.
you've just been loving this
Yeah,
throughout.
loving it.
And tell us about your dating life. Like when did you start?
So I wasn't a front row kid in school or I wasn't a backbencher in school. I was one of those middle wala class
Okay.
clowns.
Okay.
I've always been unconventionally pretty. I'm not going to say I was always fat and ugly, but I'm going to say that I was always very not like Bollywood style pretty.
Okay.
I had my own scene. Obviously my mom also very like from the beginning initially instilled in me ki पैसे खूप इम्पॉर्टंट असतात फायनान्शियली इंडिपेंडंट असायला पाहिजे. सो दॅट सिन्स आय वॉज 15-16 शी इन्स्टिल्ड इन मी. सो वाईल ऑल माय अदर फ्रेंड्स वर डेटिंग इन स्कूल आय वॉज बिझी लुकिंग फॉर जॉब्स इंटर्नशिप्स. सो स्कूलिंगमध्ये डेटिंग कधीच नाही झालं. त्याच्यानंतर कॉलेजमध्ये तर माझा जॉबच लागला इन माय फर्स्ट इयर विथ रेडिओ. आणि सो वेन पीपल वर जेन्युअनली लाईक डेटिंग अँड जनरली हॅव्हिंग फन आय वॉज वर्किंग. सो I was a late bloomer, especially when it came to love life.
Okay.
And I think I was 22 when I had my first boyfriend.
Okay. I don't know how many mothers would tell this to their daughters that
Right.
you need to be financially independent.
Right.
But this is really incredible that your mom instilled this since childhood.
Yeah.
And
Also, I mean, I give it to circumstances, life. I mean, those are things that generally like, you know, make you want to give advice to somebody else कि यार ये मेरे साथ हुआ तेरे साथ नहीं होना चाहिए. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So I think that is where it came from for my mom at least.
So the hormones played like its role pretty much late.
Yeah.
Like I think
Yeah.
because you were all focused,
So focused
on what you were doing.
Yeah, but that's not a good thing also, you know.
Okay.
Karan, it's so strongly inbuilt in me even today that, you know, I have to have a job, I have to have money, I have to have a salary at the end of the month. Even with my relationships, it used to come in the way.
Okay.
Like I wouldn't like it when the boys would pay for me. I would be like, listen, I can pay for myself, relax, like I don't need your money. And like even when I got married with my husband, it was very difficult for me to break that obligation of using his money to buy me something.
Yeah, I've heard this from a lot of people that the conversation about money with their husbands is very difficult after you get married immediately. How do you ask for it?
Yeah.
So can you just tell me what did you exactly do? Like when you got married, how did you break this or how did you come out of this?
So like I always say, circumstances teach you everything.
Yeah.
So I was in a circumstance where I didn't have a job for about 6 months when I got married.
Okay.
After a year.
Okay.
I also lost my mum during that time.
Okay.
Then I just picked up any job that came my way because obviously I needed like income at the end of the month, which wasn't paying me enough. But I was just like, at least I'll get out of the house and like. And then my husband also is a sailor, so he went on sail for the first time, and that was the first time I was living without him.
Okay.
So there was a 6-month का patch जहाँ पे मेरे पास पैसा नहीं था, माँ नहीं थी और प्यार नहीं था. So
that must be like
yeah, it was devastating. So after 3 months, I sort of went to a counselor and like I took therapy, and I was just like, what's happening to me? And I realized that पैसा मेरा mood बनाता है.
Okay.
So my mood depends on how much money I have in the bank. I had to break that. I had to break that cycle. And
it was like a pattern because since childhood you had seen that money was a major factor in your life.
Yes.
And I think you continued it into your relationships as well.
Yeah.
And
then 3 months post that, when I was telling my husband that I'm going through therapy and असं होता है आणि you know what, I've realized बँकेत माझ्याकडे पैसे नाही आहेत म्हणून मला असं वाटतंय. And he's like, what do you mean?
Okay.
I've been on ship for 3 months. मेरा पगार आ रहा है. It's literally sitting there in the bank. Why are you not using it? Like, I haven't married you like so that you can entertain me. Like, I have married you so that we're in this together. And like, if I know that I'm sitting here on ship, मैं अपनी करा रहा हूँ यहाँ पे ship पे बैठ के, मेरी बीवी तो वहाँ पे मेरे पैसों के मजे ले. तो he's like, I can't believe you're going through this absolute shit in your life. Because you don't have money. Of course you have money. It's just in my account. That's all.
Yeah.
So
but वो उसका पैसा था.
उसका पैसा
and
था.
you wanted to earn it, and then that was your money, sort of.
So it took me a while still to sort of use that money.
Okay.
But today I'm at a stage where there's just no difference between his and my money. We're always transferring money into each other's accounts. We have a joint account. We have all of that.
So you did manage to like sort of break the pattern.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, for sure. Now I only use his money.
That's amazing. But tell me, I heard, like, I have these insider sources who told me that you had a blog which said that how I Met Your Jijaji.
Yes.
And I think that was very fascinating when I got to know about this. So I want you to tell our audience also about it. So what was it exactly?
A lot of people who meet me today also get very alarmed when I tell them कि मेरी arranged marriage हुई है.
Yeah, because you were so infectious. I mean, when you're in the room, you actually grab so much attention in general, and so and you're not like arranged marriage material. I would.
मुझे भी नहीं लगता है कि मैं arranged marriage material हूँ. माझ्या आईला पण वाटत नव्हतं की मी arranged marriage
शोधायला लागेल तुझ्यासाठी.
In fact, she waited till I was 28, 29, and finally she's like, काय होतं आहे, लग्न होतं आहे की नाही होतं आहे. आणि मी म्हटलं की तू शोधून दे ना, मग मी लग्न करेन. He's like, काय? Are you nuts? I thought you were dating some people. I just thought you were not introducing them to us because you were not so sure. But now you should be sure of somebody. I said, nahi yaar, nahi. So that's when the arranged marriage process started. My mother was thrilled because my brother, who was actually the more arranged marriage material, had a love marriage.
Okay.
So she's like, चला बर है माला at least.
I think उल्टा ही होता है ना बहुत बार.
हमेशा.
कि लगता है कि जिसका यार love marriage होगा उसका arrange निकलता है.
उसका भी मेरे पास एक theory है, but I'll tell you about that later. But so my mother started this process. Of course, all kinds of marriage bureaus were connected with, contacted. I met about 10 boys. Out of the 10 boys, one meeting was to with 50-60 boys in a room because it was a मेळावा.
Okay, like
पुण्यात खूप मोठा आहे हे मेळावा scene.
Okay.
Yeah, so you go up on stage and you introduce yourself.
I find it pretty awkward, man. Like I've heard about these events because I'm also in the process of an arranged marriage, and somehow I've not had the guts to go for something like this.
You should, it's amazing. I enjoyed it. मला तर स्टेज वरती माईक वरती बोलायला खूप आवडतं. तर
So you had to like go on the stage and introduce yourself.
Yeah, I was like, hi, माझं नाव आहे मीनल आणि मी रेडिओ सिटी, तेव्हा मी रेडिओ सिटीमध्ये काम करायची. मी रेडिओ सिटीमध्ये काम करते. मी इथे आहे, मी असं आहे. But you need to go prepared with information. So you need to know what your gotra is, and you need to know what your caste is, and you need to know. तिथे मला कळलं की मला हे सगळं काहीच माहिती नाही. So then that's when I went back and my mother's like, okay, now I'm going to teach you all of this stuff.
Yeah.
It's not bad to know these things. It's just nice to know your roots.
Yeah,
you know,
for sure.
it's not, you don't bring it up in conversation, but it's just nice to know. आपल्या घरी सत्यनारायण असते तेव्हा पण भटजी आपल्याला विचारतातच की गोत्र काय आहे हे काय. So मी नेहमी विसरते पण it's just nice to know that you belong to you know, sect or a community.
Yeah, you need to know where you come from.
Exactly,
basically. As simple as that.
But it's been a thrilling experience for me. I loved it. Like I love meeting people anyway.
Okay. So this blog basically was about these 10 guys you met.
Yes. Every time I met a boy, I wrote a blog.
Okay.
Yeah.
That is absolutely funny. And you did it like instantly. Like you would come home.
Instant, because I was scared I would forget stuff.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah. So
okay. We want to know like the funniest story, like the funniest arranged marriage meeting that you've had.
So I met this one boy in Bombay. So I had gone to Bombay for work. I was living. My brother also had his office there. He used to live there for some period. And my mother said, मुंबईतला एक मुलगा आहे, तू आता मुंबईलाच आहेस तर तू भेटून ये. So I said, okay, fine, no problem. So after work, he decided to come. So 8 वाजले होते. तर he's like, you know, dinner करूयात का वगैरे. I said, sure, but I think my brother will join us because I'm staying with him these days आणि whatever. So we decided to meet at a mall in Goregaon. आणि 8 वाजले, 8:30 वाजले, 9 वाजले, 9:30 वाजले, हा काही येईना. And I'm just like, what's happening? My brother's cracking jokes on him कारण तो ठाण्यावरून येत होता आणि तो काय असा लोळत येतोय का वगैरे. All of these jokes were happening.
Oh my God. He didn't turn up?
He's like, you should really marry this guy. Like he's not going to show up in your life and then you'll just live your life the way you want to. So he didn't turn up.
He didn't turn up?
No.
Oh my God.
But in his defense, he kept calling me every half hour saying, मी इथे पोचलोय, मी इथे पोचलोय, मी इथे पोचलोय.
He kept doing that, but he didn't come.
He just didn't come because finally at 10 o'clock I told him, listen, खूप उशीर झालाय आणि तुलाच परत ठाण्याला जायचंय गोरेगाववरून. So let's not do this today. We'll meet tomorrow. And this is where I'm staying. If you want, we can catch up for breakfast, like before you go to work and before I go to work. हाँ चालेल. So I was like, okay. So the next day in the morning we met. I don't mean to demean anybody, but he didn't look like somebody I would be attracted to.
Okay.
So that was a no for me. When he sat down, I definitely want somebody who's taller than me. Come on, that's a basic requisite. Okay. So
no, I think physical attraction in general is a very major.
Important.
It's very important in any relationship.
माझ्यासाठी बेसिक एवढंच होतं की माझ्यापेक्षा उंच असायला पाहिजे. Otherwise, like. You know, and I'm like a hardcore classic romantic, so I need to look up like this.
Wow.
You know, so we met, we sat down. Also, even communication wise, I really felt like since I'm in the field of communication, I just need somebody who can articulate better.
Yeah.
That wasn't coming from him either, so again, that was a big no for me. Then he lived in Thane, and then through this conversation, I realized that he was looking at somebody who would look after his parents.
Okay.
Fair enough. I mean, that's his journey. And like, so I was like, you know, that if I do move to Bombay, because like if we do get married and I move to Bombay, there is no guarantee that I will get a transfer through my radio station also. क्योंकि vacancy होने चाहिए ना, ऐसे नहीं कि like they'll just give me a transfer. So I may not have a job for a while, but I will still look for a job. No, there's no need for you to work because my parents currently really need somebody to be with them at home.
Okay.
So I was like, oh, so then what we can do is you move to Pune with your parents because then like if one of us doesn't have to work, you don't work.
You don't, huh?
I'll work. I earn enough and you can sit at home and look after your parents. He got very offended आणि तो असा उठला वगैरे की you know असं कसं बोलू शकतेस तू, तुला काय वाटतं की माझे आई वडील तुझ्याशिवाय नाही राहू शकत का? I was like, माझ्याशिवाय माहिती नाही पण क्लिअरली तुला बायको हवी आहे कारण तुझे आई वडील तुझ्या बायकोशिवाय नाही राहू शकत.
Okay.
So he got very offended, immediately called my mother from the table and said, you know, असं कसं वगैरे. So after this, obviously I'm thinking he's rejected me.
Yeah.
हाँ, तो I was like, great, okay, चला मी निघते, मला उशीर होतोय ऑफिसला आणि तुम्हाला पण होतच असेल. So I left. The next day he calls me and he's like, काय विचार केलात तुम्ही? And I'm just like, तुम्हालाच नकोय ना, ट्राय तरी करून बघा म्हणे. म्हटलं म्हणजे लग्न करून ट्राय करू का तुमच्यावर आणि राहता नाही आलं तर? नाही नाही असं नाही म्हणत आहे, म्हणजे तुम्ही असं मग काय लिव्ह इन करायचंय का तुम्हाला? अय्या तुम्ही असं कसं बोलू शकता वगैरे. आणि लाईक लिसन, दिस इज नॉट हॅपनिंग. आय डोंट मीन टू लाईक रिजेक्ट यू, बट like you should reject me honestly. I'm not somebody you want. Like I'm just really not somebody will can be a part of your life. Like, I don't see it like that.
Makes sense.
So, but yeah, that was
the most. And when you were meeting these guys, like as you said, like you wanted somebody who was tall, any other parameters that you always had? Like,
so one of the biggest foundations of marriage, I think, are whether people want to have children or not.
okay.
Yeah,
it is like a major.
It's a big deal breaker or a deal sealer, whatever it is.
For sure.
So I didn't want to have kids.
Okay.
And I made sure that every time I met somebody for the first time, पहिल्या 15 मिनिटातच I used to be like, listen, I don't care what your expectations are. Let me tell you what mine are. I don't want to have children.
Okay.
Some of them would be like, okay. Some of them would be like, what is this phenomenon?
So you were always like very clear.
Very clear. So apart from, of course, physical attraction or anything, I definitely wanted somebody who was very clear about the fact that he didn't want kids.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But otherwise, I think financially stable,
any reason
all of
why
that.
you didn't want to have kids? Like if you would like to share.
I think circumstances again, like the way I was raised. I just feel like it's a very tough job. Parenting is very tough.
Okay.
I'm not made for it. I know for sure. Now when I have nieces, I know I have like a maternal instinct in me. But that's it. म्हणजे तेवढंच प्रेम मी करू शकते पोरांवरती. Like how much I give my nieces. I'm not sure that I have like unconditional love in me.
But I think fair enough. Like when you tell me all these things, I see you as a person who knows how to draw her boundaries.
Yes.
And you're not somebody who will be like, you know, ki, just for the sake of like getting married. Like if I like this guy, I'm ready to move to Bombay, or I'll do this for your parents, or I want to have kids because I love you. I think you were very clear of what you wanted. I think self-love.
Self-love.
Major self-love.
For sure, yeah. Like I love traveling. I would rather spend that money for me to go to the US instead of giving it to my kid to go study there.
Wow. But I want to ask you, like, so much self-love, confidence, and to know what you want. And to honestly, so in an arranged marriage setting, I've seen people sort of tell you so many things beforehand.
Yeah.
Ki hey noko bolu.
Barabar.
Hey noko karu. Even if you feel this way as a girl, you don't have to put your thoughts ahead.
Yeah.
Jasta bolu noko sa meeting madhe.
Yeah.
Have you, like, I'm sure you've heard this kadi na kadi tari.
Thankfully, I think my mom never did that.
But that's a great thing.
Yeah.
I mean, that's why you could be yourself.
Yeah, yeah.
And where does this confidence, like, would you like to tell me one thing in your childhood? Like, I'm sure it's your parenting, which is so solid, boss, that you are out there just being yourself and not getting scared of what people would tell you.
Yeah. I just think it comes from the fact that also since I was 15, like I said, I've been working. And me nahi tar kon karnar माझ्यासाठी. It used to always be like that. Like I had this guilt because my parents didn't, it was difficult for them to make ends meet in a paraya desh.
Yeah, being in Dubai. Yeah.
I did not, for some reason, I don't know if it's my parents, but I used to live with this thought that माझ्यामुळे माझ्या आई-वडिलांना त्रास नको व्हायला पाहिजे.
Okay.
So if I wanted something na, I would either when I couldn't earn good marks and grades and make them say ki तुला काय हवं. Or then by the time I was in my 10th, 11th, I just started earning my own money and getting the things I wanted.
But then one thing, like for example, you told me that you wanted your parents to be happy.
Right.
So that means at some point of time you did think about them, okay, for sure. But you didn't become a people pleaser. So when what happens is when you're trying to even keep your parents happy, you sort of replicate that in every relationship that comes your way.
Correct.
But the best part is you've maintained your identity throughout, even if you made them happy.
Yeah, I don't know how that happened.
I mean, that's amazing.
Yeah,
that's
thank you.
Yeah,
thank
I think I love that fact about you.
Sweet, thank you.
And
thank you so much.
Okay, coming back to how you met met Jijaji for that.
Jijaji.
Yeah, that blog that you wrote about. What happened? How did you meet the guy, and what exactly happened then?
So my husband has a lot of crosses before the ticks.
Okay.
He's a merchant navy guy. He's an extremely.
So you never wanted to be.
No, I didn't understand that kind of relationship only. कि हे असं कोण राहतं 6 महिने apart आणि 6 महिने together.
Okay.
So.
Then how did you meet him? Because you knew he was.
In the merchant navy. So my mother finally, after 9 boys, actually he's the 10th boy. 9 boys. She said that मी वैतागले आता. I said, अरे 9 मुलांमध्येच वैतागली तू. You gave up so quickly. तर शी इज लाईक काय कळतच नाही आहे तुला काय आवडतं आणि कोण आवडतं वगैरे. एवढा छान मी अशोक सराफसारखा दिसणारा मुलगा आणला तरी पण तुला आवडला नाही. सो आय वॉज लाईक ओके. सो फायनली आय थिंक शी टोल्ड माय फादर वैतागून की माझ्याच्याने होत नाही आणि तुम्हाला तर काही इंटरेस्टच नाही आहे तर तुम्हीच बघा आता हिच्यासाठी. सो माय फादर आय थिंक वन्स इन कॉन्व्हर्सेशन विथ हिज फ्रेंड्स मस्ट हॅव सेड की माझ्या मुलीचं लग्न होत नाही आहे, कोणी मुलगा असेल तर सांगा. सो वन ऑफ हिज फ्रेंड्स फ्रॉम बॉम्बे सेड की पुण्यामध्ये आमची क्लोज फॅमिली फ्रेंड्स आहेत त्यांच्यासाठी पण ते बघतायत मुलगी, तर इफ दे वॉन्ट टू मीट तो मर्चंट नेव्हीमध्ये आहे असं. सो माय फादर सेड की दिस गाय इज इन द मर्चंट नेव्ही, डू यू वॉन्ट टू मीट? आय सेड नो.
Okay, so you first said no.
Yeah, I said no way, I'm not going to meet this guy. Because I don't see the reason to meet him because I don't want
The parameters, yeah, the basic things.
It's basic. I don't want somebody who's in merchant navy.
Yeah.
But my mom is like, listen, he's a close family friend. आपण असं नाही म्हणू शकत. असं करतो आपण त्यालाच तुझा नंबर देऊया. तो जेव्हा फोन करेल तेव्हा फोन करेल. So then he got my number but he didn't call me for 2 months आणि मी पण विसरून गेली.
So 2 महिने काही कॉन्टॅक्ट नव्हता.
Nothing.
Okay.
Suddenly I get this call one day when I'm at work, this guy with a heavy voice and like, you know, hi, this is Vikrant Patil, do you want to, you know, I was just so awkward but my father gave me your number and all of that. So I was like, wow, what a voice, dude, I want this voice.
Okay.
Like, I think this is... So I was like, okay, yeah, sure, let's meet.
Had already started from
so
the
I said, okay, sure, let's meet and all of that. Then we decided to meet at Law College Road. And when we met, the first time I saw him, he resembled like one of my most favorite uncles who had passed away a year and a half before I met my husband.
Okay.
I looked at him and I'm like, oh, Shah Kaka, how is Shah Kaka here? Like, what is happening? Like, this is just crazy. And when he sat down and we started talking, he was like none of the other 9 boys I had ever met.
Okay.
Like, it was just, or any of the boys that I had dated or whatever. And just travel stories and like just his work life and his everything. And I'm just like, dude, just because I can't live with him for 6 months in a year, how do I give up this guy? He's so amazing.
Yeah.
And we were together for 6 hours. Straight.
Okay.
We met at around 1 and I was home at 9. Like, so I left at
These
7:30 from...
Wow. So these things actually happen. Like so many people have told me that, you know, they've had like 8 hours straight meeting, like पूरा दिन बैठ लिए साथ में. The first meeting itself, and I'm like, okay, ये भी होता है types, and I'm like, wow.
Yeah.
But then what about like, so when did you exactly know? Like you met him and like
met him, went home, opened my door and said, I'm getting married to this guy. And I don't care if he doesn't want to marry me. I want to marry him.
Wow. And did he like? So you were damn sure, like first meeting ke baad.
Sure.
And he didn't want to have kids.
He didn't want to have kids. So my mother told me कि तुमको बच्चे नहीं चाहिए, ये मत बोलना प्लीज क्योंकि ये हमारा फैमिली फ्रेंड है, पूरे हमारे समाज में बात फैल जाएगी. जस्ट बी नाइस, कॉर्डियल, से हाय हॅलो 15-20 मिनिटात पाहिजे तर निघ तिकडून कॉफी.
बरोबर आहे.
So when I sat down, I didn't. So I only said, "Ki, you forget about my expectation. What do you want?" He's like, "Listen, I don't have kids."
Like bang on.
I was like, "What?"
What?
Then my mother said, "Please, त्याला सांगू नको तुला जेवण वगैरे बनवायला येत नाही."
You don't. Okay, you.
I don't cook.
You don't cook
at all.
Oh wow.
And it's not a feminist thing. I just really don't know how to cook, and I
it's
really
okay, yeah, fair enough.
I can't.
Yeah.
Like it's
you
just not in me.
Yeah.
I my hand-eye coordination is only very bad, so it just doesn't happen with me. But the next thing he said was like, "I love to cook."
Okay. It's like manifested
yeah,
it, like whatever you
really,
wanted.
Yeah. I think you need to wait.
You need to wait.
You just need
the
to
right
wait.
guy comes
the right
along.
Guy comes along.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
And during these 10 guys that you saw, like, was there a point where you got rejected and did it like hit you? Because this process can be a little exhausting.
Yeah.
And it can take a toll.
It can.
In a lot of ways.
Yes, for sure. So I don't know why. And I have no objection to it also. I think, theek hai, no problem. But in the Indian arranged marriage system, the boy always has the upper hand in terms of accepting or rejecting.
Yes.
It's an unsaid thing, but you know that लड़की वाले हमेशा लड़कों वालों से पूछते हैं कि क्या लगा.
हाँ, वो आंसर आने वाला है. लड़कों वालों ने क्या बोला.
लड़कों वाले ने क्या कहा. Fair enough. That's a battle I don't want to fight. So
it is what it is.
It is what it is. I don't want to waste my energies on that. ठीक है. मतलब you have to do something if you don't like the boy for him to reject you.
Yeah.
That's what you need to fight.
Yeah.
So all the 9 boys before Vikrant that I met, most of them rejected me. But the first boy, when he rejected me, it really hit me. I was like, ये कैसे मुझे reject कर सकता है?
Of course.
So it took me a while to get over that, and like then I just realized that, you know what, even when I went to meet him, it's not like I had like decided that I'll give him a chance. I didn't do that. When I went to meet this boy the first time, I had decided that, you know, he has to be like this, he has to be like this, he has to be like this, and he has to be funny. एक तो ये funny होना चाहिए का जो prerequisite होता है लड़कियों में. I don't know why you want somebody who's funny. Just watch stand up, you know, like don't put that pressure on the boy. But I had that for sure. Like he has to be funny. अगदी टकाटक English बोलला पाहिजे आणि हे सगळं. Okay?
Because I think when you're going for an arranged marriage system, honestly, you already have like a platter in front of you.
Yeah.
In love, you know, you just fall. It's very organic.
Yes.
So you're going to compromise on things that you've not even thought about.
Correct.
To be very honest.
But
when you're going for arranged, it's like a shopping mall.
It is.
I think people just want to like select कि ये भी चाहिए, वो भी चाहिए, ये भी चाहिए.
But we always forget that the person we are going to meet is also like that.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
We think कि तो आलाय मला भेटायला. You know, तो माझ्या घरी आलाय मला भेटायला, मी त्याच्या घरी चाललीये त्याला भेटायला. Like it's very like the process is very about you.
Yeah.
And you forget that even they've come with their prerequisite and you didn't match it. It's got nothing to do with you. It's them and their choice.
Yeah, and you should be able to handle that. I think.
You should be able to handle that. It's really nothing about you. एका मीटिंग मध्ये तुम्हाला जर कोणी रिजेक्ट केलंय, it's not you, it's them. Like, you know, you didn't fit their criteria for their wife. Why are you getting offended? Like,
you didn't fit that role.
Yeah.
It's just as simple as that.
It's very simple. It really is. So that's when, like, you know, I was like, okay, cool. That's nice. And then I have this thing of...
So it took some time, like the first rejection did.
It did. Like, you know, I sort of for 2 weeks I was moping. But then I was like, why am I moping about a guy I didn't even want to marry? Like, what?
Makes sense.
This is worse than a breakup. So then that's when I sort of rose, like you say, rise in love. Self-love. Self-love, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
And now that you're married, and how many years have you been married for?
8 years.
8 years?
Yeah.
What is your equation like, and do you think that you crave for that space now? Current 6 mahine now you're not used to having him with you.
Correct.
And sometimes I think it's fair enough, like the distance also matters.
Yeah.
So do you like it when he's, like, do you get the best of both worlds because of this profession?
Yes. Definitely. I didn't know, but I think the universe taught me that I'm not somebody who likes it when people meddle in my business all the time.
Okay.
Like I said, my parents were so busy trying to make ends meet की मी 12-13 वर्षापासून असतानापासूनच मी एकटी होती. I've always been home alone. I've always been doing things on my own.
You've actually carved your own path, man.
Yeah.
I mean, I can understand.
All my decisions have been my decisions. Nobody's ever told me yes, no, nahi karayचं, हे करायचं. So I know for a fact that when I met my husband and married him and started living with him, he's very not liberal, but he's very tu tera tu mera main, like that. When it comes to like work,
he gives you that freedom to be.
Yeah, just to be.
Okay.
Yeah. And I didn't know I needed that until I met him. Like until then, all my relationships were very like, meet me today, oh, tu kai karto es, and all of that, which was like, after some time, I think it got to me also, which is why they never worked.
Yeah.
But here, to 6 mahine jaycha na, and he used to go at the right time when my work used to get busiest.
Okay.
So it was just nice to, like, you know, come back home, crash, go to work, come back home, crash, go to work, आणि कसे दिवस जायचे मला कळायचंच नाही.
Okay.
But we're best friends, and it's just nice to come back home to him also, and it's sometimes nice to not come, like. to come back home to not him, like that.
Okay.
So it's great to come back home to him also, because when he's here, he's like a house husband.
Okay.
He makes my dabba for me. So I have this one theory, which maybe people who are going through this whole arranged marriage system could use. I really believe in this fact. I read an article on the internet back then when I was going through arranged marriage that the man, if he's an elder sibling, and if the woman is a younger sibling, that sort of works.
Okay.
Because
like it just fixes.
It just fixes.
Okay.
Unless you had a very spoilt and raised childhood, if you had a regular upbringing, the older sibling always assumes the role of taking care of the family, of things, of situations. It's worked for me.
Okay.
Vicky is the older sibling. He instantly gets into the role of solving a problem.
Yeah. Okay.
and I'm the younger sibling. So for me, first I have to cry about that problem.
Okay.
First I'll cry about it, then I'll complain, then I'll get angry, and then like, but by the time I reach the anger stage only, this guy has done something to solve our घर पे राशन नहीं है problem या solve our
all the little like the
finance वाला problem या these things.
Okay.
So he immediately, like even when I'm sick,
He'll
when
take
he's
care.
sick, God help him, because I'm horrible at looking after people. But when I'm sick, I don't miss my mother, honestly speaking, because
Wow.
he's just like so chicken soup बनाएगा, ये करेगा, वो करेगा.
He'll really take
he'll
care
take
of
care
you.
of you. And I really feel that comes because the older sibling has always looked, and sibling, like not single child also, like he is older sibling.
That's quite
Man
an interesting
and younger
theory.
sibling girl.
That's
Yeah.
quite an
I
interesting
think it
theory.
works. And
It
women
works,
love
yeah.
like attention. I mean, how much ever you want
I
to
mean,
be fiercely independent.
Looking at you, yeah. I mean, at one point, like when we are just talking, I see the fact that you're talking about being independent. You make
Yeah.
your own decisions.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you want to be like pampered. You cry when there's an
Yeah.
issue.
Yeah.
I mean, look at how
Yeah.
different these things are.
Yeah.
But I think, yeah, as a woman, you want the best of both.
Yes,
like you want somebody to take care of you, pamper
For
you,
sure.
and then there's a space where you're like, you know what? Don't like
Yeah.
meddle with my business. Like I'll take
Yeah.
care of it, sort
Yeah.
of a thing.
For sure.
This was amazing, Meenal. And last question, like now that we've spoken about everything, what is love for you?
I think love for me is just a serum that makes you feel happy. So when you love your job, you're happy. When you're in a loving relationship, you're happy. When you're doing something you love very passionately, you're happy. So I think if you love something, it should give you happiness. So if you're in a job that's not giving you happiness, you don't love it.
Yeah.
If you're in a relationship that's making you feel sad, even like, and lonely, even for a minute, you're not happy.
So like love is equal to happiness.
Love is
Something
equal
that
to
actually makes
Yes.
you really happy is love for you.
sure.
Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, that was amazing. Thank you, Meenal, for being with us
Thank
on
you for
Roar.
having me.
I mean, that was a beautiful conversation. So many takeaways from this. And hey, you, thank you for joining us on Roar. Till then, keep roaring, embracing, and rising in love. Stay tuned and don't forget that I roared you.